Chrono Trigger. This, in my mind, was one of the very first RPGs I had ever played. Granted, there were others when I was younger, but I didn't really know what an RPG was back then. And this was a game that I was just able to embrace and enjoy and just love the hell out of. And I originally played it back when it came out on the Super Nintendo. In fact, I still have the original booklet and some of the original posters for it. And I had beat it, I conquered it. It took me a while, of course, because a very good friend of mine who had played it before me and had told me about it, he had to give me a lot of walkthroughs through it. So I remember there being a lot of times I'd be playing Chrono Trigger and I'd be on the phone with him saying, "Hey, dude, how do I beat Megas? He keeps kicking my ass." It's like, okay, you have to copy every spell that he does. So the minute he does a spell, have Frog hit him with the Masamune. That'll weaken him. And then whatever spell he casts, if you can copy it. And then that'll do damage. But Andy, it's not working. Are you timing it properly? So I'm sure it was just frustrating and annoying to him. Now, of course, I can do it with absolutely no problem. And when Chrono Trigger was later re-released on the PlayStation 1, I bought it. But the PlayStation 1 version, dear God, was that version annoying. Because I'm sure everybody knows why. It was, and I'm still trying to figure out, like, why was this such a problem? I mean, in that every single time a battle began and then ended, there was a loading process. You know, and it would take like 3, maybe 5 seconds for the loading from beginning of battle to the end. Now, that may not seem like much, but that's for every single battle. And that got on my nerves very quickly and just utterly annoyed me. And then there was also, with the PlayStation version, they decided to put in these animated sequences. And I hated the animated sequences. I hated them. I thought they were hideous. I thought they weren't very good. And they came, you know, after the in-game cinematic would already go and basically tell you, oh, you know, we met this new character, and now we're going to go here, and da-da-da, this is this character's introduction. And then they play the animated scene. And it just gives you information that you already know, only this time everything looks shitty. And my main problem with it was that it looked like it was done by the same guys who used to do DBZ animation. And the animation in DBZ, I didn't like that either. And at least what I like about the DS version is the fact that you can turn that off. Because I actually prefer, obviously because, you know, because I grew up with the Super Nintendo version, I grew up with all the in-game stuff, and I prefer that. That's what I prefer. Oh, so Chrono Trigger. Jesus, how do you even... Well, it's pretty simple. It's, you know, a boy and his group of friends time travel and save the world. And it starts out so simply enough in that, this girl that you befriend, turns out she's the princess, and your best friend's teleportation machine malfunctions, or does it, and sends her through a rift through time, so you have to go save her. But then due to those events, you uncover, you know, some dark future event, and you decide to change it. Because if you were able to change the past, surely you can change the future. And this was a game that introduced me to the concept of multiple endings, too. And, you know, and multiple characters, and switching out characters, and tactics, and special abilities, and magic, and and level upgrading and all that cool stuff. So, and and something I didn't notice. I mean, maybe I noticed it when I first bought the DS version and started playing it again, because I was familiar with the game from beginning to end, and that includes all the dialogue. And I noticed that, I guess for the DS version, when they re-released it, not only, did they add a few new things, but I guess they also corrected a lot of the translation in here too. And I'll give you an example. There's the scene in the game when you first travel to the bleak future, and you're in one of the domes, and you're looking for food. Because you come across a shambling group of survivors. And a lot of them, are disheveled and they're all starving to death. And you volunteer to go down into the basement and battle your way through the security droids in order to try and bring back some food for the survivors. And you end up finding nothing but some seedlings. Now, in the original, after you come back, and you're talking to the survivors about, this is all we could find, blah, 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 blah. Marley says something like, all of you all have to survive for us. And the elder of the group says something like, you kids are so much different than us. And Marley says something like, and this is in the original game. She says something like, maybe it's because we're healthy. And the elder says, healthy. Got a nice ring to it. And, and looking at it like, that line makes no sense, and that's stupid. And in the DS version, they changed that line. I think she says something different too, other than, something that's meant to be inspiring, where she says something like, you all have to survive for us, just like we have to survive for you, and blah, blah, blah. And the elder says, you kids seem so much different than us. And in the DS version, Marley says, maybe that's because we still have hope. And the elder says, I haven't heard that word in a long time. And it means so much more, and it, and has some real weight behind it. And I was like, wow, that is so much better than the original game. And, and you notice that a lot in here. And, and just made me love this game so much more. It made me ask another question. Square Enix, when the fuck are we going to get Chrono Trigger 2? God damn it. But I guess that's never going to happen, because I remember for a time we kept on hearing little snippets, little bits about there possibly being a Chrono Trigger 2. There was with Chrono Cross, but it wasn't actually a sequel. And I played Chrono Cross some time ago, and I didn't like it. I mean, obviously I should give it another chance, I suppose, but I think it's on the PlayStation Network. I think. I mean, I know the version of... I think the version of Chrono Trigger is on there. Of course, the original Super Nintendo version of Chrono Trigger is also available to download on the Nintendo Wii. But being the nerdy collector that I am, if I could, and I want to buy the original Super Nintendo Chrono Trigger with the box and the booklet and all the posters and all that shit, because I'm a giant nerd. So, but I want a Chrono Trigger sequel, or at least I don't know, I mean, I think I would like maybe a modern day version of Chrono Trigger, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but I want these characters brought back in modern day. I want to see Chrono again. I want to see Marley. I want to see Luca. I want to see Frog. I want to see Megas. I want to see Robo. I want to see Ayla. I want to see all those characters brought back. And not just them. I want even the side characters. I want Massa. I want Moon. I want Lavos. I want all the robots. I want, because, God, this game had a lot of great characters, and it had a lot of great villains. And Just don't use that same shitty animation that you used for the PlayStation version. God, I hated that animation. And somehow I get the feeling that not a lot of people. I mean, it must have been an even draw if it's a feature on the DS version to be able to turn that feature off. So, in fact, I remember one thing that rather kind of bothered me about Chrono Cross was when I was first reading the booklet to it on the character descriptions, and it goes to the new male lead, and it basically says, "Oh, he's a quiet character." It's like, "Oh, so he's Chrono," basically. Yeah, real original there, guys. That was, I mean, mainly what really bothered me and made me not like Chrono Cross was that it had none of the characters from Chrono Trigger, and this is supposed to be a sequel. And from what I understand, they are in it. Chrono and Marley and Luca, they are in Chrono Cross, but you don't get to play as them. You just get to see them interact, and that was it. And that made me go, I don't give a shit about that. If I want to play a Chrono Trigger game, I want Chrono Trigger. That's what I want. I know, I'm a fanboy, but everybody's their own fanboy about certain things. Oh, good old Chrono Trigger. This is back when Squaresoft used to make really good RPGs, really good games. I think for me, around the time that Squaresoft started getting not too good for me, and I was never a big Squaresoft fan, but I did like quite a bit of the stuff. I mean, I love Final Fantasy IX. I loved Chrono Trigger. And really, those were the only games by them that I had played. I hadn't really played anything else. But I did play Final Fantasy X when it first came out, and I liked it. I found the voiceover work utterly insufferable. But it was... I remember I played the Bouncer, and that game was just weird to me and made no sense. And I just didn't care. For me, I think it was about 10. Because it was when they became Square Enix that I noticed a huge change for Squaresoft. More specifically, in how they started making all of their characters, and in design-wise, and how they stopped looking like normal people. How they all look like bizarre anime characters, basically. And, maybe you can chalk that up to, oh, well, it's a JRPG. Well, in Squaresoft's other JRPGs, they didn't look like ridiculous, over-the-top anime characters with bizarre, colored hair that goes everywhere and bikini clothing. None of them look like that. I mean, look what these guys are wearing. They're wearing clothes, for Christ's sake. I mean, Marley's not wearing a frickin' loose bikini, and what the hell? Yeah, I mean, you wonder whose decision that was. And then Final Fantasy 13, I played that for about 15 minutes, and I just didn't care. And then Final Fantasy 14 happened, and there was a big backlash. And I understand that they're going to re-release 14. I don't know. I don't play online MMOs. This is not my thing. I mean, I've never actually played one. I would like to, but I don't know if my computer can handle it, and really, I just don't have any interest to be perfectly honest. So, here's a ridiculous trip. Another ridiculous trip down memory lane. Back when Squaresoft or Square Enix, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, back when they used to make incredible and inspiring RPGs. JRPGs. Well, there you go. See ya.